Love and relationship coach. Hi there. Welcome to the Minds Journal. My name is Kelly Ann Garnett, and I am a coach working with clients who are ready and willing to heal their past so they can create a powerful, love filled life with their soulmates. And I'm coming to talk to you tonight as the holidays approach. I'm in Los Angeles, California. We just had Halloween last week, and now we're moving towards Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so I know that this time can be very challenging if you've gone through a recent breakup or a divorce. I must myself went through one not that long ago, and it was around Christmas time, and it was really tough. So I wanted to give you some tools and tips that might support you through this time if it's something that you're going through. I wanted to start with a quote that I just came upon. I didn't even plan to do this, but it's so perfect. So I'm going to read this to you. True self love means not trying to escape from ourselves, but listening to the voices within us. This involves the acceptance of our fundamental aloneness, not seeking to reduce it, not hoping that friendship, marriage, I'm going to add relationships, community, or group will take it away. That aloneness is an integral part of being human and an essential element in love. It is out of that aloneness that it becomes possible to respond rather than merely react to people and needs. Response has to grow and emerge out of the depths of myself. It is my response, born out of my inner struggle and inner self knowledge, out of my spirit, my deepest core. And that's by Kenneth Leach. And I thought it was so perfect because, really, at the end of the day, this is the most challenging thing to one of the most challenging things to go through, but it really is based on your choice to respond rather than react. And with my relationship that ended recently, in the recent past, I took control and power over, really dominion over how I was going to react and respond. And it really gave me the space to go through it in a very empowered way. And as I was supporting a client and sharing with her my experiences, she just was in awe of how well I was handling it, especially because this was a man that I was deeply, deeply in love with. And she couldn't believe and understand how I was handling it so well because it was simultaneous to when I was working with her. So, anyway, I want to give you some tools to support you through this so that you can feel empowered and possibly respond versus react. So, the first thing I want to start with, though, is that healing is always up to us. We have to take 100% responsibility for our healing and have it be make a 100% commitment to it. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to have your moments of sadness and despair and frustration and all the feelings. There's the grieving, 5 stages of grieving. Those are there for a reason, and they are really important to move through. It's just going to be your choice whether you stay mired or stay in that sadness for long periods of time, or whether you give yourself the honor yourself and give yourself the space to go through what you feel like is coming through in the moment, and then continue moving forward in your journey to healing. So, for example, one of the stages that I'm going to talk about right now, or one of the steps rather, is to soothe yourself. Like, this is the most important thing to do first, is to really soothe yourself. And I know it can be challenging when you're around family or friends or trying to have an upbeat personality during these times that are about celebrating. But that's when you have to really honor yourself and your grieving period. And if you need to take space or not attend an event or a party or whatever, to really just honor what you're going through as you're grieving this time, or going through this grieving time. And it's okay to set those boundaries and say, "You know what? I'm not capable right now. I don't have the strength. I don't have it in me." No matter how much guilt people are throwing at you, you need to take the time to soothe yourself and really be in the sadness of this. It's a huge loss. And in some ways it feels like a death. So let the feelings come up with no judgment and really give yourself permission to feel what you feel. Really give yourself permission to do that because there's so much freedom in allowing yourself to just feel what you need to feel and tell yourself this is temporary. Right now I need to feel this sadness. Right now I need to cry. Right now I need to be angry. And I'm going to give myself permission. I know it's not going to last forever. I'm going to move through this and then I'm going to release it and let it go. You have to, the only way to go to heal is to move through it. I'm sure you've heard that before, but the only way to do it is to get in there and get into the sadness and the feelings and this and the grief and the hurts and the pain and all of that. So that's part of the soothing process, as well as making a list of ways to soothe yourself when you are starting to feel the sadness and the pain and the despair. What are some things that you can choose? Maybe it is going through the emotional upheaval, allow that all to move through you. And then, okay, now what? Have a list of like 10 things that make you feel good. Could be something like praying, could be meditating, could be exercising, could be watching a comedy. Don't watch a romantic comedy because that's going to make you feel even sadder. But any kind of a funny show, a funny movie, a comedian, on YouTube or Netflix or whatever, something that's going to bring those endorphins up to make you feel good. It could also even be one of my favorite things to do is play uplifting songs and get up and dance and get, my body moving. Another part of the soothing process is to not contact your ex, not look at them on any social media. If you have a child together or you need to see each other, make it as quick as possible. If you have a child, maybe you just text, no phone conversations, because all that's going to happen is it's going to trigger the emotions inside of you, that oxytocin. As soon as you hear their voice, the oxytocin drops, and that's the connecting hormone, the bonding hormone. And you're going to feel the feelings again. And that's going to bring it feels like you're going to have to cycle back to the beginning of the grieving process. So, as little connection as possible. If you do feel the connected feelings again, the bonding again, know that it's just the oxytocin. That's all that it is. And so when you tell yourself, okay, I the oxytocin is kicked in right now. I'm feeling a lot of feelings. So how can I soothe myself? Do I need to cry? Do I need to put on some great music? Do I need to sing at the top of my lungs? What do I need right now in this moment to feel grounded, to feel soothed, and to feel comfortable where I'm at? And it's absolutely okay if you do feel like I just need to cry. But know that that's probably more of what that is than, "Oh, I feel like I miss them so much." And yes, that's there too, but our bodies are so complex, and it's amazing what we feel like is, "Oh, it's I love them. Oh, it's I miss them. Oh, there's this incredible connection, and how are we not together?" Versus the science, the biology of us. "Oh, it's the hormones of connection. Oh, it's my inner child. Oh, it's these, psychological aspects to it too." It's a very complex um, experience when we're in love. And then if we go through a breakup out of love, of what's really the deep connection and that we belong together versus what's really our hormones are at play and we're just bonding to them because we hear their voice or we smell them or we're in their presence. So the next step after you feel like you've gotten into the ability and good routine with soothing yourself would be to do a release ceremony. One of my favorite things to do is to write a letter to a person or thing that I'm releasing and just say everything that you want to say. If you need to reiterate something, if there's things that you wish you would have said and you didn't, this is that perfect opportunity to get everything out that you need to say, and then you're going to rip it up. Don't reread it. Don't send it. It's just a cathartic or healing process to just get everything out because we don't want to hold on to anything that we're feeling. We want to really do everything we can to release it. And this might be something that you do on a daily basis for the beginning of this healing journey, especially as you're going through the holidays, because it can be very triggering when people are like, "Oh, so are you married yet? How come you're not married? Oh, where's your boyfriend or your girlfriend? Why aren't they here?" Having to face all those questions can be really, really difficult. And so making a commitment to yourself that either for 10 minutes before you go to bed or for 10 minutes in the morning when you wake up, you're just going to do not even a letter to them per se, but what we call free form writing. So you're just writing everything that's in your awareness at the moment. Why did my family have to be, bugging me about this? I can't take um, the idea of seeing him when I drop off my kids, or, anything that just needs to be put out, taken out. It's kind of like a regurgitation, like just getting it out of your body, out of your mind and your being, and getting it out on paper. And it's really, really important that you write it and not type it because it's not the same energy that's released when you do the actual pen to paper. Just again, make sure you don't read it, reread it, don't share it with anybody, just immediately rip it up. Either throw it in the trash outside, I recommend, or burn it if it's safe, if you're safe to do that, or flush it down the toilet. Just get it out because we don't want any of that residual energy in the home. So get it out of your space as quickly as possible. Burning it is the most freeing of them all because it eliminates the energy completely. You just have to be really safe. I recommend taking it outside and burning it, like in a bowl or something, a protective, something that you can, that can take being, on fire. Um, and then the second part of this step is to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself most. It's so important to forgive yourself for any judgments that you feel of, like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't they want to be with me? How could I have chosen someone like this? Um, any judgments that you've placed on yourself and any judgments that you've placed on him or her, any anger that you feel, any upsets, you know, at the end of the day, we're always doing the best that we can with what we know how, and if we knew how to do it better, we would. And yes, I know you can say, but they do know how to do it better. But if they did, they would. They really would. And maybe they have the awareness of doing something better, but it doesn't mean they really know how to implement those things. So if you can do the forgiveness piece is going to be so significant um, in really freeing yourself from the chains of this, the judgments, the upsets, the anger. It's just, there's the quote by Buddha that when we're angry at somebody, it's like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. And so if we don't release that anger and forgive ourselves for all the things that we've placed on, judgments we placed on somebody else, it just festers in our body and creates a lot of dis-ease in our systems. So it's so important that you forgive yourself. Most importantly, forgive yourself and forgive the other person. Um, at the end, I'm going to share leading a Heal Your Heart boot camp. And in that, we'll go deeper into the forgiveness work. That is just incredibly powerful and so easy to do. So, the third step that I highly recommend is the replace step. This is really important, and it's not often talked about that once you've released the relationship, the person, yourself, release the you that was in that relationship, the you that is in this grieving period, the you that isn't going to serve you in the next relationship. Any of those aspects of yourself that instead of judging them, just get really clear like, I really didn't like how I didn't communicate fully. I wasn't vulnerable enough or whatever, you might be wronging yourself for that is part of why this relationship didn't work out. Or why did I choose this person? How could I be in a relationship with a person like this? Any of those things, release that, release the person that you were with, release their family, release any kind of um, connection to anybody that is associated with the two of you, and then do a replacement for what you want to experience moving forward. Right now, maybe you're not in the space to think about a new relationship, and that's fine. But you can replace with, I want to experience joy in my life and freedom and full self expression and fun. And it doesn't have to be that you're with a new person, it can be just, what do you want to experience? And that could be through a new relationship that you might get into. But don't be attached to, oh, I want to create this so I can be in a new relationship. No, it's, what do you want to experience just in your life in general, so that you can start to embody that. And then you never know what direction you'll be led to experience more of that in your life. And it could be being single for a while, it could be being in a new relationship, it could be a new job, a new living in a new location, whatever you might be open for. It's just creating a whole space for you to step into in a new way that's more empowering and more aligned with what you want to experience long term. And maybe it is that I want to experience the joy of being alone or single. I mean, it can be really fun to be single and not have to be accountable to somebody else unless you have a child. But even in the time when your child might be with their parent, the other parent, that's a time for you to really, enjoy time alone or enjoy going out with friends or traveling or whatever it is that really sets your soul on fire. Replace with, these are the things that I want to experience now. And I would keep that list somewhere where you'll see it, are there, or create like a vision board, or post it up on the wall, put some post-its of the key things you want to be experiencing around your house. Good to put post-its on your bathroom mirror while you're getting ready. You could even have one on, if you drive, on your car somewhere, so that you see it wherever you might see it frequently, in your office or wherever that you spend a large amount of time. And that way you just keep that fresh and it keeps you feeling hopeful. Like, there is an end to this. You will get over this. You will get through this time and you will be in a new space. It doesn't seem like that, depending on where you're at in your healing journey. It might not seem like that, but I promise you that you will move through this and you will come out on the other side of this, and hopefully even better and stronger than before. So the replacement is really, really, really powerful, to list out, okay, what am I replacing it with? I didn't like how I didn't communicate, or he didn't, or she didn't communicate well, or we weren't very vulnerable, or whatever it is. And so I replace that with experiencing more ease in my communication and with others in my relationships, and all my relationships, experiencing myself feeling and being open to being more vulnerable with people. Look at where you could improve, again, taking 100% responsibility for your part, and what you realize that you're not wanting to experience in the next relationship. Again, even with just friends, coworkers, whomever, that you really want to shift that and replace in all your areas of life. Because oftentimes in our relationships, they're mirrors of how we're showing up anyway. And it's not necessarily just with our significant partner, it can be in a lot of areas in our life. So it's really good to just be open to, in all areas of my life, this is what I want to replace with. When you do start to feel the feelings, like you've done some deep grieving and you've moved through the stages as much as you can, you're still going to get the triggers of, again, if you have to see them because of children, or, any kind of connection that you might still have with them, or they're just going to pop into your awareness. It's really good to just pivot. So catch yourself thinking the thoughts and just pivot. So that means whether you pivot to something that's on your replace list, whether you pivot towards butterflies and beautiful trees, looking at the sky, like just shift your thoughts to something else, like right in that instant. Like you can be sitting somewhere, let's say you're sitting in a cafe and you start to feel the thoughts come through and you're starting to miss them. Excuse me. Look around at the people like immediately, like, oh, look at this lovely cafe I'm in. Just get present to where you're at, be in the moment. I'm just going to start to notice how many blue cars drive by, or how many people wearing a leather coat are walking by, or something along those lines. Just distract yourself from thinking about them. You got to catch yourself and then distract yourself, essentially. So that's pivoting, where you're just thinking about something more positive, or thinking about something that's not them. That doesn't also make you feel bad or sad. Like, I'm just going to go look at this beautiful coffee. Gosh, it tastes so good. I wonder, I'm going to treat myself to this coffee once a week or every day, or however you want to do that. Just anything that can shift you into a different thought, because we can get so sucked into our thoughts that drag us down into the sadness and despair and, God, I miss them so much. But you can also take responsibility and shift those thoughts. So it's just a mindset shift, deciding, oh gosh, I'm thinking about them again. And, put your hand over your heart. God bless you. I love you. Peace, be still. Thank you for our relationship, our time together. And I release you. And I'm going to go on Facebook right now and check out what's going on in there. I'm going to read in this article I've been wanting to. I'm going to watch some videos on YouTube, whatever, just take ownership for those thoughts, because we have our thoughts, but we are not our thoughts. And so it's so important to know that and decide, no, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. Or, you know what? I feel like I do want to cry, grieve, be in this, but I'm going to wait until I get home, or I'm going to wait for a better time, or even go into the bathroom and, like, I'm going to give myself 2 minutes to just feel some sadness right now, breathe through it, and then go about your day. When you're with your family and friends during the holidays, try to enjoy it as much as possible. This is when it's crucial to pivot. And even if they do ask you questions about, like, well, what happened and where, you have every uh, opportunity, you have every um, blanking on the word, but you have the power to say, I don't want to talk about it. You know what? I'm happy to tell you about it at a later date, but right now I'm still feeling really sad about it. So I just really rather not talk about it. You have the ability to say no. And that is fine. People will understand and respect that. And if they don't, then you can walk away or say, you know what, I can't stay here. I'm sorry. If they're not going to honor you, then you don't need to be around them. But this is a time where it is such a fun, loving time to be with family, to be with friends, to celebrate, coworkers, whomever. And so it's really important to enjoy this time. And when the feelings come up, the sadness comes up, again, doing that pivot, honoring yourself, setting your boundaries, and then pivoting and just saying, so what's going on with you? Let's talk about you. How have you been? Shift the conversation away and know that, okay, I'm going to give myself permission to feel the sadness when I get home, but right now I just want to be present and enjoy my time with these people and not think about the past or the future, because that's really truly where we get um, the most caught up in all that's going on, is this past relationship is over, and what if there's nobody else out there for me in the future? So it's the past and the future that keep us in that stronghold of frustration, despair, worry, doubt, fear, versus if I'm in the moment, all is well in this moment, God willing, and I can enjoy myself with my family and enjoy myself with my friends. And even if it's just sitting there watching everybody have fun, you don't have to contribute more than you feel comfortable contributing. You can just sit there and watch and be present to the love, the joy, the excitement of what's going on around you. And, eventually you'll start to feel better. You'll start to feel more like yourself, but it's really okay with where you're at. Be okay and in acceptance, like I read before. It's about being okay in acceptance with you're alone right now, you're going through this really difficult time, and you can only give what you can give. But you're around all this love and joy, so try to just feel into that. If you can't be in a joy-filled place, just receive it. Receive the joy, receive the love that's around you, and that will help you to make it through in a very empowered way and make you feel like, "Okay, I can do this. It's not gonna be easy, but I can do it. I can make it through." Which then leads me to my next step, which is to once you start to feel like you're in a better place, it's really important to be in appreciation of the relationship. I know relationships can end on good terms and bad, and especially when they end on bad terms, it's hard to be grateful for what you went through. But if you can find it in when you're ready to go into a place of, okay, what did I learn from this relationship? What are the gifts that I'm taking from this experience with this person? And what do I want to shift moving forward? I mean, truly, relationships, like I said, they're a mirror, but it's also like being in school. And we learn a lot about ourselves and we learn a lot about how to be in a relationship, to relate to another. We learn about what we like and we don't like about being in the relationship. There's so many gifts from a relationship that don't feel like a gift in the moment. Can really feel horrible, but they long term can really serve us and support us in shifting what we want to experience and getting more clarity around that. That's something that I believe is incredibly important as you move into a new relationship is to be clear about what you want to experience. Not somebody, not the list of, well, they have to be rich and they have to be blonde and they have to be, this height and this weight and all those things. But rather, I want to be if you were in a some sort of abusive relationship, like I want a healthy relationship that's about expressing and experiencing deep love and connection and commitment and looking at all those things that they might have been horrible while you were in that relationship, but if you can get to a place of appreciation to go, okay, I appreciate that I went through that experience. I appreciate that I had to learn these lessons that I learned, and I got to learn some new lessons too, and I got to learn new things about myself and how to be in relationship, how I want my partner to be. And so I'm grateful that I get to take that moving forward into the next relationship that I'm creating that either is similar to what you had and even better, or is the exact opposite of what you had. And now you get to have the opportunity to step in something brand new that's amazing and empowering and God willing with your soulmate. So when you're ready, it is important to do the appreciation of what you went through, what you experienced with your partner, and what you're moving forward in the future. If you had an amazing relationship and you're so distraught by this ending, I've been there myself. I thought mm, a relationship previous to the last one was with someone that I swore I was going to marry. And so when it ended, it was just absolutely devastating. And I went to the place of I'm never going to find there's nobody else who's going to be as amazing as he was. But I promise you, if there's a man or a woman who is as amazing as they were, there's somebody even better. I mean, yes, we were created to be different, but yet we all have a lot of similar traits. And so imagine if there's somebody that's that and even more. Sometimes our relationships are just a taste test of what's coming and what's possible. And so it may seem like this is the worst thing ever that you are now not together and there's no way anybody better is out there for you. But I promise you, if you get through this time, if you do your work and release anything that's blocking you from being together, like the grieving process, like taking ownership for your healing and doing what it takes to heal fully, it's incredible what's possible on the other side of something you didn't even know existed. So have faith that something even better has to be. around the corner or somewhere close down the road. And then the last step is to thrive when you start to feel like, okay, I'm starting to feel like I can be open to being out in the world fully and maybe possibly dating. Um, but just feeling like, okay, I feel like I've gone through the grieving process. And that's not to say, you grieve until you grieve, until you're done. Like you're going to go through the journey is however long it takes, and don't it's a journey, not an event. Healing is a journey. It is not an event. It's not going to, okay, 3 weeks and then you're going to feel better, or 3 years and then you're going to feel better. It could take years. You just don't know. But hopefully you'll be in an empowered space, and hopefully it won't take long because you're doing your inner work and you're making these choices and you're taking your power back with regards to how this healing journey is going to go. It's incredible how it can shift the speed with which you do heal. But there still might be times where you are triggered, a memory comes up, a song plays, and it might send you back a bit. But just again, tell yourself, this is just a moment. I'm going to give myself permission. Like if you're crying, I give myself permission to cry right now. I know this is only temporary. It won't last forever. But getting out, and once you feel like, okay, I'm ready to face the world again, start to pick up some hobbies that you maybe stopped doing or have been wanting to do. Maybe plan some trips with family or friends that are places that you've been wanting to go, whether they be local or, continental, intercontinental, wherever out in the world you might want to go, and just start to have fun in life again. It's life is wonderful and amazing, and this time is really, really hard and it feels hopeless, but I promise you it will come to an end, and you will get to a place where you feel like, I can get back out there again. And at that time, you might start to date, get back online, or get online if you've never been online. Um, Ask for friends to set you up, whatever it is that you're going to do to feel like you're ready to get back out there and date. But again, just be gentle with yourself as you go through this process. It is a process, and you will make it through. You will come out on the other side, and you'll probably be even stronger and hopefully find the soulmates that you've been seeking to be with for the rest of your life. So now I'm going to open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions right now. Why do exes reach out during holidays? Oh gosh. So, yes, there's a moment that I probably should put the caveat to, where you'll start to feel free from them, and they will most likely show up. And during the holidays, it's especially tough because they don't want to be alone and they're getting the questions, well, why aren't you together? And there's initially, I was going to talk about this is the cuffing season where people get into a relationship just so that they have somebody to go to the holiday parties with or the events or whatever. So um, be very careful, because if you're in a really good place, you've done your work and you're feeling like, okay, I feel like myself again, and then they'll show up. It's up to you how you want to go about doing this. My rule of thumb is, if you talk and if you consider the possibility of getting back together, is it going to be better than when you left it? Or is it going to be the same? If it's going to be the same, it's going to end up right back where you were. But if you've both done some work or you're committed to doing some work, it's possible that things could work out. If they're reaching out to you during the holidays, I'd be very careful to connect with them at this point. Like I said, this is really a vulnerable time for a lot of people because they don't want to face the questions of the family saying, well, where are they? What happened? Why didn't things work out? All the things that you hear. And so they might just be in that space of, well, I don't want to go through that, so I'm going to reach back out to them. If you want to possibly reconnect or talk, maybe keep it that you don't see each other till after the holidays, set that boundary for yourself. But you have to do whatever feels right for you. And if you can't stand being away from them, then again, I just would be really cautious to make sure that if we do try this again, that it's going to be better, that whatever the issue was that had us end, that we're going to be in a new place about this. We're going to approach our relationship differently. We're going to do our work together, not just one or the other. So be careful. But if it works out, that's great. I mean, sometimes we're in a place that we're just not ready to be together. And so we do need some time apart to individuate and grow. So I'm not opposed to it, but just hold the intention that if we're doing this or we're going to connect, it's got to be better than what it was. Hold that strong boundary for yourself. You deserve that. I'm doing all the things you're saying, but it seems like whenever I'm alone, I'm slipping into the same endless loop more and more. That's why you need to do the soothing. You have to have your soothing list. That's another one that should probably be posted somewhere so that you see it, or just have it on your phone and go, okay, what's going to be on my soothing list? Is it going to be spending time with a friend? Is it going to be watching a funny movie? If you're home alone and that's really triggering you, then it might be reaching out to somebody, a family member, just to spend time with them, especially if you're living in the place that you might have lived together. That can be really triggering. And so figure out what's on your soothing list that will help you move through that, and eventually it'll get easier and easier. If you are living in the space that you guys share together, it'd be really good to move things around, shake things up a little bit in there, get some new furniture or new pieces that will help to make it look more like your own space and not the space that you share together, or just rearrange the furniture so that it looks different and isn't as triggering of this was our home, this was our space together, or wherever you lived. And it can be really painful. But just again, if you're going through the looping of it, it's, taking ownership for, okay, I'm noticing that I'm going through the loops. I've got to pivot. Wow, I need to clean some dishes. Let me go do that. Let me put on some great music while I'm cleaning the dishes. Like, pivot in any way that you can as quickly as you can, and you'll stop getting into those loops more and more frequently, and you'll feel so much better. And again, look at that soothing list too. That will help as well. Go out for a walk, exercise. That's always a great way to get those endorphins flowing. Why do couples break up during the holiday season? Is it a global phenomenon? Um, yeah, that's a good question. I would have to say that maybe what my experience of it has been is that people feel so much pressure at that time to commit. And holidays together, if you're in a relationship, and yes, it might be a committed relationship, but at that time when you guys celebrate these holidays together, it's pretty serious. And for some people, it's just overwhelming to go to parties, go spend time with each other's families, all the things that look so much like a relationship. When it's just the two of you, or even you with some friends, there isn't the same um, relationship to commitment to all of it that's feels so confronting or feels so suffocating in a sense. If somebody's going to feel like their freedom is being taken away, then they're definitely going to leave. And when we spend time with the families and all the things that go with that, people can just feel such immense pressure. So that would be my what I've experienced. It's not the case for everybody, but I do feel like it's a lot if I'm not fully feeling invested in this relationship, or I don't really see us going to the next step, then the holidays would be a time, because it's just all about being together and everybody seeing us together. And so I can see why somebody would be like, I can't do this. And it's the worst time to end a relationship, but if it's not going to serve either of you to move forward and continue, then better to know sooner rather than later, unfortunately. And just going into the place of, okay, this is awful and why now, but I can't allow this to take me down. I've got to do my work. I've got to come out of this in a powerful way. I got to heal and move forward, because I don't want to be stuck in this detriment for ever, and the holidays can just be so triggering to end a relationship, so even worse than any other time or Valentine's Day. Those 2 times of the year can be just so painful, so really just do your grieving and then take like, "I gotta move through this. I can't allow this to take me down." As much as you can, the power back that you can while you're going through it. I'm still in love with him after my breakup, totally normal, but the situation is really complex and getting back to each other is really impossible. How can I get through this? Oh, it's so challenging. Yeah, Christine, I hear you. And as I mentioned before, you know, there's the love and then there's the hormones. And I'm so proud of you for saying it's too complex and it's probably not going to serve you if it's not going to be relationships really should be easy. I'm sorry, but I really have a hard time when people say, "Oh, relationships take a lot of work." There's work involved and there is the need to commit to each other and commit to the relationship and do things together and spend time together and keep things alive in the relationship. But it should be easy and it should be fun. And so just knowing again the when you do the replacement step after you've done your release and you replace it, that will get your hopes feeling high again. That will get you to that place of like, I know I deserve better. And this complicated relationship is not what I want to experience in my life. I mean, it's why that's why my last relationship ended. Like, I can't be in this relationship that's so complicated. That's not what I want to experience in my life. I want to experience joy and fun and ease. And so just getting to the place of this is what I want and I can't keep going back to that as much as I love him. I have to release him. I have to know that there is even better out there for me. I deserve that. And truth be told, I'd rather be alone than be in a complicated, crazy relationship, chaotic relationship. So just continuing step by step, day by day to do the work to release, pivot is going to free you to get to a place of I'm done. Another good step to take too is to connect with your future somebody. Start to feel a connection with them. And I feel like that will also help you to gain the strength to continue to move forward. Like, I know there's somebody that's going to be amazing. And sometimes, believe it or not, sometimes that ex can step into that role. But if you don't set your bar higher, they're never going to meet you there. So, connecting to someone that is everything you hope and desire, it could be them. It really could. But don't be attached to that, release that, and be open to this or something better. If they're going to step up, wonderful. If they're not, then somebody is going to step into that place and it's going to be amazing. Is it okay to be alone for the holidays? I was not in a relationship, but I've been alone most of my life. Yes. Well, so I hear you, Mike. And yes, it's absolutely okay to be alone for the holidays. Really, what you want to do is just own that. You just really own I'm alone and it's okay. I enjoy yes, you'd rather be in a relationship and I get that, but it's also important to just accept where we're at and know that something better is coming. Again, doing the pivoting. If we get into the oh, I feel so alone and this sucks and it's hard, it's going to be that way. But if you go, okay, I'm feeling sadness, I'm feeling alone. I'd really love to be in a relationship, but I'm going to pivot and just, oh, look at those beautiful birds. Oh, listen to them chirping. That's so nice. And just pivot away from the thoughts of despair as much and if, as frequently as you can. And just be like, oh, look at the beautiful. I'm going to drive around and see who's set, decorated their homes and just really enjoy the space and the freedom that you have right now and know that you could meet somebody tomorrow. You never know. So be hopeful, stay in the hopefulness, but also just own. Yep, I'm alone. It's okay. I'm okay. I enjoy my company, so I'm gonna be okay with that and try to get to that place. And it's amazing how much of a more of a magnet you'll be versus I'm in the despair, I'm all alone, something's wrong with me. That's going to repel. So you want to get into that magnetic attraction, and owning that you're alone for the holidays is really powerful. I think that might be it for the questions. All right. So I am offering a workshop through Eventbrite. And I think the link is going to be put into the chat. Here it is. So it's a Heal Your Heart boot camp, and we'll dive deeper into everything that we talked about today. And then I will also take you through some other steps that will really support you in feeling empowered and moving through this time in a hope filled way where you're not feeling so overwhelmed by the sadness and despair, but rather open to the possibility and excited about what's possible on the other side of this, and allow you to really clear out so that you don't bring in another relationship that's similar to this, or that you can really release your ex to completion. So that will be coming up. Thank you so much for joining me on here. It's been an honor talking to you, and I send you guys so much love and light as you're through going through this time of healing. And I know that there's magic on the other side of this. So I wish you all the best. Blessings, everybody.